Arachnophobia. You weren't born afraid of spiders. Your brain was just built to learn it fast. Show an infant a spider and a flower side by side. No fear, no difference. But show that same infant a spider paired with a frightened voice, just once, and the fear locks in almost instantly. Therefore, your brain isn't running an inherited fear. It's running a hair-trigger learning system built to memorize threats in a single try. No repetition required. Spiders happen to be dangerous often enough, long enough, that evolution rewarded the brains that learned fastest. It feels like an ancient instinct. It's actually a rigged tutorial. One lesson, and you never forget it. That's why one bad spider encounter can haunt you for life. Your brain didn't take chances. It only needed one. Claustrophobia. Up to 75% of people are more afraid of public speaking than almost anything else, including death. You'd assume it's about the words. It's not. The second a room turns toward you, your brain reads it as being surrounded. Therefore, it fires the exact same alarm your ancestors used for a circle of predators, or a tribe about to cast you out. Getting judged and getting hunted use the same wiring. Your brain never updated the difference. It feels like nerves about a presentation. It's actually a survival alarm, mistaking an audience for a threat that could get you left behind. Next time your hands shake before a speech, that's not weakness. That's 400,000 years of social survival, aimed at the wrong target. Trypophobia, the fear of clustered holes, isn't even an official phobia. It's not in the diagnostic manual. But show someone a lotus seed pod, or a cluster of bubbles, and their skin crawls anyway. You'd assume that's fear. It's actually disgust wearing fear's costume. Clustered holes resemble something your brain flags fast: rotting skin, parasites, contagious disease. Therefore, your brain isn't warning you about danger. It's warning you about infection, using a pattern recognition shortcut that doesn't check if the threat is real. A picture of holes has never hurt anyone. Your disgust system doesn't care. It feels like fear. It's actually your immune system's alarm, going off for a picture instead of a disease. Nyctophobia. The dark itself has never hurt anyone. Darkness has zero teeth, zero claws, zero danger of its own. You'd assume that means the fear makes no sense. But your eyes are almost useless at night, and your brain hates not knowing what's nearby. Therefore, the second your vision goes, your brain defaults to worst case, assuming every unseen space could be hiding something. It feels like the dark is dangerous. It's actually your brain punishing you for not being able to see, filling every gap with a threat it can't rule out. Turn the light back on, and the monster disappears. Because it was never in the room. It was in the blind spot. Trypophobia. Most phobias speed your heart up. This one can stop it. You'd assume needle fear works like every other fear. Pulse racing, ready to run. For a huge number of people, it's the opposite. The sight of a needle triggers a sudden drop in blood pressure, and some people faint on the spot. Therefore, this isn't your fight or flight system overreacting. It's a completely different reflex. One built to play dead instead of run, likely inherited from an era when visible blood loss meant the smartest move was to drop your blood pressure and stay still. It feels like simple fear. It's actually your body pulling an ancient survival trick that hasn't been useful in centuries, and still fires every single time. Astrophobia. The flash never hurts you. It's the 7 seconds after that your body can't stand. You'd assume the fear is about the lightning itself. It's actually about the weight. Thunder is unpredictable, sudden, and loud enough to trigger your brainstem before your conscious brain even catches up. Therefore, your body reacts to a storm the same way it reacts to a gunshot. First the jolt, then the explanation, always in that order. Dogs feel it too, for the same reason humans do. It feels like fear of the storm. It's actually fear of not knowing when the next crack is coming. And your nervous system would rather flinch 100 times than miss the one that matters. Coulrophobia. A clown's smile never moves. That's the whole problem. You'd assume the fear is about the costume. It's actually about the face underneath it. Humans read emotion by tracking dozens of tiny facial movements in real time without even trying. Therefore, when a painted, frozen expression hides all of that, your brain can't tell if the smile is real and defaults to assuming it isn't. A face that won't update reads as a face that's lying. It feels like an irrational fear of face paint. It's actually your threat detection system failing to get a read on someone and choosing to fear the mask instead of trusting it. Automatonophobia. A mannequin is close enough to human to register as a person and close enough to wrong to register as a threat. You'd assume something almost human should feel safer than something totally inhuman. It's the opposite. Therefore, your brain has a category for human, a category for object, and nothing in between. So anything that sits right on that line trips an alarm neither category can explain. Scientists call it the uncanny valley. And your brain falls into it every time. It feels like an object that shouldn't unsettle you. It's actually your brain failing to file it anywhere safe and leaving the file open. Emetophobia. This might be the most disabling phobia most people have never heard of. You'd assume it's just squeamishness. It's actually one of the most restrictive fears there is. Built entirely around losing control of your own body, in public, with no way to stop it. Therefore, people with this phobia don't just avoid getting sick. They avoid entire foods, restaurants, even pregnancy, just to lower the odds to zero. It feels like an unusual fear to have. It's actually one of the most common phobias therapists treat. Just one nobody talks about, because admitting you're afraid of throwing up doesn't feel like something you announce. Aerophobia. Flying is statistically the safest way to travel on Earth. Your brain does not care. You'd assume the fear is about crashing. For most people, it's actually about control. Therefore, the real trigger isn't the altitude. It's someone else flying the plane, a door you can't open, and turbulence you can't predict or stop. Your brain doesn't calculate odds. It calculates escape routes and finds none. It feels like fear of the sky. It's actually fear of being trapped with zero say in the outcome. The same feeling that makes elevators and long tunnels uncomfortable for the exact same people. Claustrophobia. The walls were never moving. Your brain just started counting exits and didn't like the number it found. You'd assume this fear is about small spaces. It's actually about blocked ones. Therefore, a tiny room with an open door rarely triggers it, but a large room with a locked one absolutely can. Your brain isn't measuring square footage. It's measuring how fast you could get out if you had to. It feels like the walls are closing in. It's actually your brain running an escape calculation in the background and refusing to relax until the exit count comes back above zero. Cynophobia. Almost nobody is born afraid of dogs. One dog usually makes sure of the rest. You'd assume this fear builds slowly. It doesn't. Therefore, a single bad encounter, one bite, one lunge, one bark too close, can get filed away so fast that your brain generalizes it to every dog you meet afterward, friendly or not. One bad file, applied to an entire species. It feels like caution around dogs in general. It's actually one specific memory, quietly voting on every dog you'll ever meet again. Gyrophobia. A sudden loud sound doesn't wait for your brain's permission to react. Your body's already moving before you've processed what happened. You'd assume that reaction comes from fear. It's actually faster than fear. A reflex built into your brainstem that skips your thinking brain entirely, because thinking takes time you might not have. Therefore, you'll flinch at a bursting balloon before you consciously register the sound at all. It feels like a fear response. It's actually the same reflex behind that ringing in your ears after a loud concert, your brain choosing to overreact 1,000 times, rather than risk being one beat too slow, just once. Somnophobia. Falling asleep means giving up control of your own body for hours, completely undefended. For some people, that's the scariest part of the day. You'd assume this fear is about nightmares. Sometimes, it's simpler than that. It's the vulnerability itself. The hours spent unconscious and unable to react to anything. Therefore, the brain treats bedtime like a threat instead of a reset, and fights sleep instead of welcoming it. Remember that falling jolt right before you drift off? For most people, it's a harmless reflex. For someone with this phobia, it can be the exact moment the fear kicks back in. It feels like fear of bad dreams. It's actually fear of being unreachable, even to yourself, for hours at a time. Agoraphobia. Every phobia on this list is your brain protecting your body. This one protects something else entirely. You'd assume fear only exists to keep you alive physically. It doesn't. Humans survived by staying inside a group. Remembered, accounted for, missed if we vanished. Therefore, being forgotten once meant being cut off from food, protection, and safety. A slower, quieter danger than a predator, but a real one. It feels like an unusual thing to fear. It's actually the oldest fear on this list, just pointed at your place in the group instead of your body. So if a phobia has ever made you feel irrational, remember, every single one of them, including this one, was once the difference between being remembered and being gone.